Hi there, I'm Scott Bruin and I would be honored to be your next U.S. Congressman. I'm a fifth-generation Oregonian. I am a product of public education from kindergarten all the way through graduate school. It was one of those institutions I met my wife Allison, and together she and I are the proud parents of two young daughters. I'm also a businessman that knows how jobs are created, and I'm a three-term state legislator, and in the legislature I've always focused on job creation, tax reform, and free market healthcare reform sorts of issues. Also in the legislature, I've been known as being very effective, even though I serve in the minority party, because I've always been willing to reach across party lines and treat my friends on both sides of the aisle with respect. I believe in the golden rule, and I think that will help me serve in Congress. I believe that we have to bring Oregonians together to move Oregon forward. I'm running for Congress because I think I'm a lot like you, and that's why you're watching today. We love our home, we love our country with the pride and the dedication of a lifetime. We know that we are blessed to be American, and we know that we owe our country a debt of gratitude that can never be fully repaid. I'm running for Congress because I absolutely believe in America, and I have absolute invincible confidence for America's future, and you should too. We are a great nation with great corrective ability. But with our optimism must come a clear-headed understanding of the great challenges that we face. Did you know that this year, for the first time since 1974, Congress hasn't passed a budget, and in fact is not going to pass a budget until after the November elections? Why not? Because they don't want you and I to see the red ink. Why not? Because the reality is staggering. $13 trillion in national debt and growing, annual deficits between $1.4 and $1.5 trillion, daily deficits of $4.1 billion. That means we're spending $4.1 billion more per day than we actually take in, and federal spending at 25% of gross domestic product. That's the highest level since we fought for Western civilization in World War II. At the same time, this is all going on, we have the worst economy that many of us have seen in our lifetimes. It's anemic, and it's failing to create those private sector jobs that we all need and that we all want. Oregonians want to work, but for too many of us and our friends and our families and our neighbors, those opportunities simply don't exist. 1/5 of Oregon's workforce is now either unemployed or underemployed, and much greater than that, much greater than the 1/5 when you consider job loss. Working Oregonians who are afraid to change jobs because there's no opportunities, or there's just no opportunities. This has to change. Now, Congress promised us that with their top-down stimulus package that this would rescue the economy. In fact, this was supposed to be the summer of recovery, but it hasn't happened. And since the stimulus has failed, they seem like they're out of ideas. They've tried everything top-down, command and control, and it has simply failed. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to set a new course. We need to see fit to follow a different path. Instead of this top-down approach, this approach which creates more and more, or pulls more and more power to the government at the expense of you and I, we need to do the reverse of that. We need to empower Americans to succeed. We need to empower American families and American workers and American small businesses and American entrepreneurs. That will be the rescue of this great nation of ours. And how do we do that? We do that by empowering individual liberty, personal responsibility, limited government, free markets and free enterprise and entrepreneurism, financial sobriety, national security clarity in a very unclear world. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, I'm Scott Bruin, running to be your congressman, and I believe that 2010 is the most important election of our lifetimes. We will either see fit to follow a new path, one that believes in American exceptionalism, one that believes in equal opportunity, one that believes in entrepreneurism and that true grit that has always made America exceptional, or we're going to validate the path we're on. We're going to validate this downward, stale slope to mediocrity. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's not the America I grew up in. That's not the America my family, my parents, or my grandparents grew up in. And it's certainly not the America that I want to hand off to my children and hopefully someday my grandchildren. We can do better than that. I'm Scott Bruin, and if I'm running to be your congressman, and while in Congress, I will fight for American strength and prosperity and national renewal. We can get this back, ladies and gentlemen, and I invite you to support our campaign. Our website is joinscott.com, and once again, I'm Scott Bruin. I'd be honored to be your congressman. Thank you so much.
Hello, my name is Chris Lugo, and I'm the Pacific Green Party candidate for U.S. House, 5th District, Oregon. I'm a journalist by training and have served as the editor of the Tennessee Independent Media Center, as well as an independent producer of radio and television. I was educated at the University of Minnesota and Macalester College. I was a U.S. Senate candidate for the Green Party in 2006 and 2008, and am a lifelong peace activist. I've worked as an advocate for social justice, secular government, media democracy, single-payer health care, environmental justice, and nuclear abolition. I'm running for Congress as a Green because it is time for the citizens of Oregon to have someone who represents them, and not the blind interests of a neoconservative agenda. Blind interests that have led us down the path of war, neglected our most vulnerable citizens, young and old, and given us a crumbling economy. It is time to end the failed wars in Afghanistan and Iraq that have cost the U.S. taxpayers more than $1 trillion and disgraced the United States in the eyes of the international community. The two-party system has proven that it will not end war. So it is up to a progressive third party to do what the Democrats and Republicans have failed to do. A vote for the Green Party is a vote to bring the troops home now. The recent crisis in the Gulf further illustrates the need for real solutions to our collective dependence on oil and corporate cronyism. It is time to end our dependence on fossil fuels and develop safe, viable alternative energy sources. It is time to leave our children a clean, healthy, and peaceful environment in which to live and raise their families. We can see now that the policies of the Democratic Party and the Republicans will not make America stronger. Oregonians are out of jobs. People are losing their homes. The middle class is shrinking and the federal deficit is mushrooming because of reckless war profiteering, corporate subsidies, and tax breaks for the most privileged members of our community. It is time for a positive change in Oregon. It is time to turn away from the policies of greed and fear that the two-party system represents. Americans are ready for a compassionate government that addresses real human needs. Thanks again for your consideration of support, and I look forward to serving you next year as your Green Party representative in the 5th Congressional District of Oregon.
Hi there, my name's Kurt Schrader. I'm your United States Congressman from the 5th Congressional District. We encompass Clackamas, Marion, Polk, Tillamook, Lincoln, and parts of Multnomah and Benton counties. We ran for this office 2 years ago because we didn't like the direction this country was headed. Previous administration had run this country into a ditch. We were losing 750,000 jobs a month. People were losing their homes. Pretty darn tough circumstances. We just narrowly averted a Great Depression. We've been working hard. I'm a small businessman, raised a family of 5 great kids, own a veterinary clinic and a farm. And frankly, I think that's the type of person you need in the United States Congress right now. Someone that's had to meet a payroll, someone that's had to balance a checkbook, both at home and frankly in a business, someone that's had everything at risk every day, having started 2 businesses from scratch. We've been working hard for Oregonians since we've been back in the United States Congress. As I said, I think we've averted the Depression and slowly turning things around. Private payrolls are actually up a little bit, believe it or not, in our state. And the optimism as I walk Main Street businesses when I'm back home is actually a lot better than it was a year and a half ago. We certainly have got a long way to go. It's no news story to people that Oregon's usually the last state into the recession, and unfortunately that means we're going to be one of the last states getting out of this recession. But we're starting to see some progress, and frankly we've had some successes right here in Oregon. I'm very pleased to say that in the Salem area we've got an employment center that we've been able to get a lot of infrastructure development for to create jobs. We've got manufacturing jobs in Clackamas County, building a whole new streetcar. First American-made streetcar is going to be occurring in our country, in our state, and in this district. We've been able to help our fighting warriors by rehabilitating the National Guard Armory in Polk County. And frankly, we just stole the Pacific Fleet, the NOAA fleet, out from under our Washington state senators and brought it back to Oregon here. It's going to be situated at the Newport community area, bringing hundreds of new jobs to an area that's been in pretty tough shape for a long time. So we've had some successes. Most of my work's been done on my committees. I'm on the small business, agriculture, and budget committees that fits my profile as a small business person and a farmer. and one who actually did a lot of work on our state budget not just too many years ago. To me, it's about getting small business going and creating jobs. That's really what it's all about. I actually introduced and passed legislation that has been languishing in the Senate for about 8 or 9 months that would increase loan guarantees for the banks so that the Small Business Administration guarantee maybe up to 90% of the loans so that, frankly, those banks might actually lend some money. I've been in the forefront of encouraging small business tax credits, higher levels of expensing and depreciation allowances, getting to write off 100% of your capital gains, frankly, for small businesses. And we actually passed out of our committee a small business lending fund that I vetted with a lot of our banks and mortgage and small business lenders. Really think it's a great idea. $30 billion, all paid for, not adding to the debt, that will leverage almost $300 billion in private investment in businesses that create jobs. And I'm proud to report, as of 2 days ago, the Senate actually passed a bill that encompasses all 3 of those elements, the tax breaks, the guarantees, and the lending fund for small businesses. So that's actually going to become law on Monday. The President of the United States is going to be signing that bill. We already have 1,000 businesses lined up with applications that are approved, ready to loan as soon as that bill is signed. So that's a great success story. We're also very mindful of our debt out there. I've heard loud and clear from citizens all during the summer and last year, we got to get our debt under control. So I've been working very hard to make sure we have pay-as-you-go legislation so we don't add to the deficit. We actually have introduced bills on our own behalf for Medicaid and Medicare fraud, waste, and abuse, save $132 billion. I've even returned over $100,000 from my own office to help balance the budget. And we've been walking our talk every day. We actually have refused to take 2 congressional pay increases because we're trying to be like everybody else. One of the best parts of the job is helping people out. I'm proud that we've been able to bring $1.5 million of benefits back for seniors and veterans who've earned them. I feel very, very good about the reintegration efforts our state's doing, making the troops safe when they come home from war at Fort Lewis. And frankly, been very, very proud of the work we've done for Medicare for our seniors, making sure we get the same reimbursement everyone else does. Please vote for me November 2nd. Thank you.